So we're just checking out the video, the Zoom part of it.
So how come the best night of observing you're not regular meeting? I know! My wife wants to be more social, so we weren't supposed to say that out loud.
There's no one on Zoom? Well, let's do this. Do we have any visitors here tonight? I know we have one over there in the plaid shirt. Can you, yes. Met him on the way in. Could you stand up and tell us your name and how you found us and what you hope to learn from us?
My name is Ed Forrester. I'm kind of more of an armchair sort of guy in the outdoor scopes, and I'm here because Matt invited me from a Reprotech science show a couple of weeks ago. So he was too big to turn down. I've been wanting to come here for 33 years I've lived here.
Very good. Welcome. Welcome. Do we have any other visitors? Okay, we'll get these two.
My name is Joe Ostrom. I'm a guest of Bill Hall. I actually work with Bill, and I've listened to him talk a lot about his hobby and what he's interested in. It's piqued my interest enough to attend.
Well, welcome. Please.
My name's Carl Twilley. I used to work with Bill Williams, and I'm here at UCS tonight. I'm interested in your remote observatory.
You're going to learn a lot about it tonight.
Yeah, the presentation's about our remote observatory, so you picked a good night. Any other visitors? No? All right. Do we have any commercials to sell? Okay, be sure to sign in. Well, I will make a segue. I was going to do this at the end of the meeting, but I'll do it now. A elementary school principal sent us a note from Donna Park Elementary because of the work that you did, yes. And I've just dropped your name. So
Recording in progress.
So Patrick. So Patrick does one heck of a job in our outreach program. And Lynette says, we are over the moon. Thankful that you came out to our science night. Our students were amazed to see the moon, planets, and you brought science to life for them. Thank you for your contributions to inspire future astronomers. Very good. Thank you, Patrick. All in a day's work, right? Yep, that's what you think. That's the look on your face. You do a good job. Oh, we're a bunch of people now on Zoom. I'm pleased with that. Okay, so shall we get started? Well, welcome everybody to the February 18th general meeting for May. I'm Bruce Campbell. I'm president of the society, and we do have many of our officers on the board, so if you just stand up, so just see who they are. So these are we have our treasurer down here working the table, one of our directors, Cy Simonson, Robin, she's the secretary, thank you, another director, Tom Roth, and the vice president, Bill Hall. And so we've had several people join the club since we've last met. Any of those folks in the room tonight? No, but if, when they do come, be sure to welcome them to the society. Did want to let you know that Ren V. Smith is a resident of the Cross Plains area, so we see her out at mowing the field with us, and she also goes and checks out our telescopes to use out there. She's into binocular astronomy, and so we outfitted her with one of the parallelogram mounts that Tom Roth made, so her 20 by 80s are easier to view the skies. Let's go on to the next page. Oh. Oh. So they're broadcasting last month's Zoom meeting to those who are on. So another technical difficulty. Oh, now we're on May 20th. Who got that? Well, this makes more sense. Very good. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit background information on our club. We're FWAS. We were founded in 1949. There are currently 424 people that are involved in the club, with a total of, I can't think of the number of members that we actually paid memberships that we have, but it's pretty impressive. That's quite a few people that are interested in astronomy in the Fort Worth area. We have a wide range of experience, from young astronomers that we have classes for, to men and women who try to go out and do astrophotography, and we also have a large number of people that do visual astronomy. Plus, we're all willing to help. If you have a question, especially on our email forums, just post the question, and then you'll get a wide range of answers that hopefully will help you to the solution you need. And we're also a nonprofit, so we have our hand out at any moment, and if you're willing to make a donation. Let's go to the next one. So in terms of resources, we have 2 observatories that we can use. The first one's at our dark sky site called Rising Star Observing Area out in Eastland County, Texas. The other one's the Thompson Observatory in Keene, Texas. So we have places to go at darker skies in the DFW area. We do have a variety of refractors and Dobbs scopes that are available to use out at Rising Star. And then we have membership handbook, which contains a lot of information about the club and how you should behave or act out at when you're out observing. And then in terms of online resources, let's go to the next page. We do have a web page that will give you quite a bit of information about the club. Our Facebook page is growing in size. Many of the posts that the club make, I vet and I determine if I can put it onto Facebook, and I'll contact you if I just determine that that's a good idea. Like Bill, your definition of solstice, thought that was great. I will probably put that up. And then we do have our YouTube page where our meetings can be found if you want to go back in time to see what was discussed. And then the last 2 items are our email forums that the first one's main, where everybody gets the email, and the second one is just those people that are associated with the special interest group. Let's move on to the next slide. Oh, look at this. It's tonight for tonight's presentation. So Bob Circus and Jim McCatherine are going to walk us through the building a remote observatory. So come on down.
Jim's going to start it off.
Okay. Is that a mic thing?
I need to share a screen. If you can hear me, I need to share a screen.
Okay, try it now.
See if we can make that work. Share a whole screen here. All right, how's that look on your end? You guys have audio?
It looks good.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good. Well, I'm Jim McCatherine. Thank you for inviting me. I'm kind of an orphan member out here in Abilene on the other side of Rising Star, so I haven't had the privilege of meeting many of you other than those that have been out at Rising Star. We are architects and engineers out here. We have about 600 projects across North America, Central America, South America, Africa. And we also design observatories and we fabricate high performance telescope piers. You might have heard my wife, Cindy, say that I talk a lot, maybe that I talk too much. And I like to spin that into a positive light and think that that means that I explain things well. And that brings us to Elizabeth Taylor. And in case you're worried tonight that I might go long, I want to share with you what Elizabeth Taylor told each of her 8 husbands. This won't last long. So we start out and you know, astronomy is a charmed pursuit because everybody has a fascination and a curiosity about the night sky. And we love these wonders and we're excited to spend some time out in the wee hours of the night, you know, fellowshipping with the universe, freezing, batting bugs, sometimes batting bats. But it's a combination of peace and exploration and an epiphany that comes with discovery. Research has found that astronomy changes personal perspectives and it can actually lower our heart rates. So one study suggests that astronomy makes us kinder and more creative. So we can think of astronomy as, and the stars as our therapy. So I like to think of astronomy as a pond. It's a pond so shallow a child can play. At the same time, it's so deep that no scholar will ever touch the bottom. And we're all on this cosmic journey, and we have a little bit different paths. But my journey started in 1973 with this. And some of you in my generation might remember the Edmund Scientific build your own telescope, grind your own mirror kit, a whopping $13.95. Well, I did it. It turned out really good. Wound up with this. And all I had to use it was this, which is 32 pages of basically cartoons. So I found the moon, found the planets, found the Orion Nebula, and then it became complete frustration because I couldn't find anything else. So a couple of years I sold it to a guy at the physics department at A&M. And at the time, education was inexpensive, telescopes were expensive, and it managed to pay for a whole semester of tuition fees and books. One thing we have in common on our journeys is get my notes here. You know, although we're on different paths, we all share this thing about putting up and taking down. And it's a pain. It's also when things get broken. But lugging equipment around, in and out of the house, in and out of the garage, there's no fun in that. Polar alignment and, a sky model every time you set up, there's just no fun in that either. So eventually you think, why am I doing all this repetitive setting up and taking down? And then the next step is, why am I outside freezing and fighting bugs when I could be inside in the comfort of my home or office? Then the next step in that iteration is that if I can operate remotely, why am I still fighting light pollution, seeing, and clouds? Well, here's an example. This was taken at Marathon last year. Storm just blew through. We have these low clouds, and I was actually in the village, so you're seeing some light reflected on the clouds. But look between the clouds, and this is a Bortle 1 sky. So at Bortle 1, the Milky Way casts a shadow, and some constellations are barely recognizable because there's just so many stars. The Triangulum galaxy, M33, is a naked eye object. And looking at Jupiter affects your dark adaptation. So the next night, I was back in Abilene, back at home, stuck the DSLR on my hood of my truck, just like I did before, took the shot with the exact same settings, and that's what it looks like from suburban light pollution. So here, you've got Bortle 7-8, clouds are brightly lit, Milky Way is invisible, and the constellations are weak. So you see a huge difference. There's a reason to have an observatory. There's even more reason to have one where you can get some dark skies, as in a rising star. And if you look at this handy nomogram, and we look at the column here at Bortle scale, that one, and we look at the column over here at number of stars visible. If we come down here on Bortle scale to just above 7, right at 7-8, we read across, and we're at maybe, from your backyard, 250, 300 stars visible. But now go back to the Bortle scale and drop down here to 2, which is roughly rising star, and read over to this stars visible, and we're in excess of 5,000. So that's the difference between probably your backyard and rising star. So there's
seeing you and not your screen.
What was that?
They're seeing you and not your screen.
So when did that start? Just now or forever?
Forever.
Oh, good gosh.
No,
I can see his screen.
I'm seeing your presentation.
I see your screen.
Okay.
Here, what do I click on? What do I click on to see the screen?
Depends on what you're viewing through, computer or phone.
PC, computer.
Up at the top, you should have 2 buttons, one called Meeting, one called Jim McCathern's Screen. Click on Jim McCathern's screen.
Okay, thanks much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this will make no sense at all if you don't see the screen.
Yeah.
That's
No,
the real
it's
shot.
been displaying, Jim. It's been displaying.
That's very good. I was hoping somebody would stop me sooner if it wasn't. I think my voice alone probably is not that interesting. So we have the light pollution issue to deal with, and we also have the atmosphere. So if we look at upper level winds, for one thing, the seeing is the blurring and distortion caused by atmospheric turbulence. And the turbulence is caused by temperature differences and wind, and that refracts and scatters light, causing image blurring and scintillation. If we have any other Aggies in the audience, scintillation means twinkling. So that's another thing we're fighting. And if you're at remote, like at Rosen, call it rose, a rising star, you have the benefits of some of these dark sites. Stable atmosphere is great, but we also need a lot of clear nights. So if we look at clear nights scattered across the United States, each color change is roughly 20-25 clear nights. So Kentucky has half as many clear nights as Arizona. And Tucson has in excess of 300 clear nights. And in Fort Worth, we're hoping we just get any more than 200 clear nights a year. So all these things affect, whether or not to have an observatory and also where you're going to put it. But a personal observatory is a very logical next step in the progression of an astronomical journey. It's a huge improvement in both the quantity and the quality of the experience. It can mitigate negative effects of light pollution and wind. You can pretty much eliminate all your time setting up and taking down, so you can spend that time observing or imaging. Reduces wear and tear on the equipment. No more repetitive polar alignments or sky models. I polar align once a year, whether I need it or not. And I don't even have a sky model. I do a 0-star alignment, park them out, and then just unpark them out every time. So who are these observatory people? Well, this is Rising Star. The one on the left is Mary Noble. The one on the right is mine. There was a survey done not too terribly long ago about who has an observatory and why. 92% are amateurs, 72% are located at home, 36% are at dark sites, 62% primarily to avoid setup and takedown, 31% primarily for the benefits of astrophotography, 63% are owner designed, 19% are do-it-yourself construction, 52% use contractors, 61% are manually operated, and when asked if anything went wrong, 100% said yes. So everything is pretty much a prototype, and you may be doing something a lot like something else, but there will be something go wrong. There's simply too many failure modes. The first decision, and maybe the hardest, may be what kind of observatory to build, because you have a lot of choices: domes, half domes, clamshells, single roof roll-off, split roof roll-off, folding or hinge roofs, a roll-away building, a mini observatory, a micro observatory. Or you might just say, forget it, I'm just renting a remote pier. This is one of our observatories in Marathon, and you by the month. This one's a little bit different. It's a co-op, and they bought the building, and they pay by the month to pay the guy to do the service work. But each option has its pros and cons, but the two dominant choices are domes and roll-offs. So my Astro Haven dome's on the right. If I had it to do again, I think I'd get a Super Robo dome on the left. Maybe you want a small is beautiful, collapsible mini observatory, 100% recycled material, and it fits in a pickup. Or, like one of our other clients, you may want a few more amenities in your roll-off. And that previous slide and this slide indicate another big variable, and that is cost. And there's a huge range of cost. So we tend to think of roll-offs as something, some guy a few years ago cut off of the roof of his shed and put it on rollers, but it goes back a lot farther than that. This is Harvard from 1887, and if you look in the lower left corner, there's a roll-off observatory. It's actually a split roof roll-off. And if you want to go back farther than that, there is a big roll-off roof. That is the Great Melbourne Observatory, commissioned in 1869, moved to Canberra in 1945, and was destroyed by a bushfire in 2003. The European Southern Observatory Agency completed a set of 4 telescopes in the Atacama Desert in Chile. And rather than name the scopes after famous astronomers or major donors, they just call them LVT, Very Large Telescope. And extremely left-brain people name stuff like this. So he did another one, a bigger one, 39 meters. Still no more creative naming. They call it the ELT, the Extremely Large Telescope. There's plans for another one called the OLT, the Overwhelmingly Large Telescope. And I think if they ever do another one, it would be the RLT, the Ridiculously Large Telescope. This can go on forever, but it illustrates 3 things. The VLT is a dome, but it's not a dome, it's a box. The ELT is a dome, and the OLT is a roll-off building. It's a big roll-off building. So there's not just one style of observatory that fits everybody. Now this is Cindy. She married me even though I am a left-handed Aggie. And I'm sure I barely met her requirements for boyfriend, but she did find my defects were acceptable. She's smart, she's witty, she teases me about being an astrologer, doing astrology. She, for the 100th time, I've told her, no, I am not imaging MS-13. She used to call every dome an igloo, and I finally got her to quit calling my domes igloos. So now the dome at Rising Star is Starboy's Pleasure Dome. So let's look at Starboy's Pleasure Dome a little bit. Starting the dome is a 7-foot Astro Haven clamshell. The stock 240 volt motors and non-ASCOM control systems were scrapped. And I put DC winches in and a sky roof controller. Next thing up is a high performance telescope pier from telescopepiers.com. That's the first plug for telescopepiers.com. CGXL mount that's had the belt and bearing upgrade. C11 Celestron focus motor that's hidden off behind the image train there. F7 Star Zone focus reducer flattener, an off-axis guider that I never use anymore, and filter drawer. And right now there's a 2600 MC Pro Duo imaging camera on it. Over on the side here facing us, Celestron 2-channel smart dew heater controller, and a aluminum dew shield, a Wanderer Astro flat panel. Then on top, William Optics Star 80. It has a ZWO focuser, and there's an ASI 290 mm on that. The top scope I'll use for guiding when I'm operating with Hyperstar at F2 camera. And I just put the Duo camera on it a couple of months ago. I think I like it. The guide star shapes can be really great. They can be really bad, and you may only have one star depending on where in the sky you're aiming this thing. So when I'm not happy with the Duo guiding, I'll use that W80. This is a schematic of everything that's going on, basically. Let's start with the right slide here. Coming up next to the mount, there's a power pedestal, which is the 120 volt power. Coming off of that is a battery tender serving an ordinary 12 volt gel cell deep cycle battery. And that feeds the motors for the dome. This dome does not have a door. So if you can't get the shells open, you can't get in without a whole lot of problems. So coming off this battery are two terminals sticking outside the dome so you can jump that battery if you ever need to. Off the other side of this utility pedestal is a good surge protector, and it's feeding a digital logger's power switch. So I've got 8 switchable outlets and 2 always hot outlets. So if we start over here on the first switchable outlet, it's a heater. And it's a little 500 watt electric heater like you would put under your desk at your office kind of thing. It's not very big, but some nights things will be just dripping wet with dew. And so I'll close that shell and run that heater for a few hours to get the temperature up and evaporate that water. The next outlet here is this IP camera. And as far as I'm concerned, you have to have that. It pans and zooms, and it's infrared. I don't normally turn it on because I use a different camera, but when there's a problem, this thing saves you a trip. Not too long ago, guiding went terrible, no reason why. Turn on this camera, start panning and zooming around, and I've caught a cable and snagged it. Well, by being able to look at it, I was able to slew the telescope and unsnag itself and keep on going. Not too long ago, a flat panel decided it only wanted to open halfway. And it just gave me the signal, neither open nor close, which doesn't help at all. But you can turn the camera on and see what's going on and prevent a trip to Rising Star to troubleshoot something. The next one, this number 3, is a fan. And this stays on only in the summertime. And that outlet stays on all the time in the summertime. The fan is controlled with a temperature and humidity sensor set for 95 degrees. So when the sensor hits 95 degrees, the top of the dome may be, 115, it gets hot. But the fan will come on and keep the interior of the dome fairly near ambient temperature. This next one is the imaging cam cooling. The 5th one down here is the dew controller, and the flat covers are powered off the dew controller. The next one is the mount, and the focus is powered off the mount. This next one is a dew fan that I virtually never use, but I want to play with it some more. It's a little fan in the dew shield, and the intent is to keep the corrector close enough to ambient that condensation never forms on it. The dew point is always less than ambient. So if we can keep the corrector close to ambient, we should not have any dew. The other thing is it breaks up a boundary layer on the corrector, which is another refractive lens, basically, of stagnant air. The next one is the computer and the hub. Nothing magic about the hub. It's an ordinary, inexpensive hub. First USB is for the second cover. Next one's mountain focuser, the first cover, the dome controller, the dew controller, the IR webcam, which is the one I use all the time. It doesn't tilt and zoom, but it has much less IR coming out of it. And it works quite well, and we'll see a view out of it here in a little bit. The webcam, which is a garden variety webcam that was being used as a backup in case something else failed. The electric focuser, an empty slot, and then a place for wireless keyboard and mouse. The computer is a B-Link EQ14. It is an Intel chip, 4K video, which to me is important if you're going to do live stacking. 16 gigs of RAM, 500 gigabyte solid state drive, and it is a whopping $189. It's a bargain, and it has a fan. And you know, fanless computers are fine, but when the dome gets hot in the summertime, this may be up towards its upper environmental limit in temperature. And I just personally like having fan cooling on me. It's fun being the age I am because I've been able to see technology change so fast. I mean, my first computer was 2 megahertz, and this one is nearly 4 gigahertz. And my first one was 4 kilobytes of RAM, and this one is 16 gigabytes of RAM. And for another $50, you can take it to like 64 gigabytes of RAM. So it's been really interesting to see all these cool changes that have happened so fast. The router is, again, it's just an inexpensive TP-Link dual band router. We've got one cable going to the computer, one going to the data logger switch, one going to the IP camera, and then one plugs into the pedestal, which then takes it to the astronomy building and the Rising Star server. Now, for every device on here and every connection, there are failure modes. And the challenge is to identify the failure modes and develop some remote recovery procedure so that you don't have to go to Rising Star to fix anything. Because I want to run months at a time without having to do anything. And it's not all that hard to do, but some things you're going to have to go out. If you get a power surge and you trip the surge protector, well, you're going to have to go out there and reset it. If you get a spider building a big web in your dew shield, you're going to have to go out there and take that out. So there's things you have to do on site. Generally, most of the maintenance can be done, if you think about it, without a trip. And as the observatory population at Rising Star expands, we'll have more of a community to help each other out. And you know, Bob and I already do this. Yesterday he calls up and says, "Hey, I'm going out. You know, open your dome. I'm going to drop a little light shield in there for you." And then, you know, if he's working on Mary Noble, he calls up and says, "Hey, are you going to be at Rising Star?" Which I know means that he needs a strong back and a weak mind to do something that's going on at Mary Noble. So we'll meet out there and do various things. Peter's been out a few times, but you know, with a small community, even though we don't have on-site maintenance, we still have a camaraderie thing going, and we can help each other not have to make trips to Rising Star. But if anything doesn't physically break, I can probably go a year and not have to go out there to do anything. Install software on this, the astronomy software. There's the ASCOM platform, NINA, which is a imaging program. CPWI is the app for everything Celestron. And it's their astronomy pack, their Stellarium clone thing. Their SharpCap Pro is a capture software. Fire Capture is another capture software specifically for planets and solar systems objects. PhD2 is a guiding software. Skyroof is the app for controlling the dome and taking information from weather stations, position information from telescope, various other things. Stellarium, I don't use. I have it just because everybody else does and it's peer pressure, but I don't think I've ever even used it. MetaGuide I use once a year. It's a guiding program. I use it for collimation. And collimating STT is, it's not hard, it's just a pain. Because you center a medium bright star, walk around to the front of the scope. There's 3 screws. All right, which screw am I going to turn? Well, I don't know. Let's try this one. So you try one, and you got to go back around to the other end of the scope, recenter the star, look at the star pattern, go back to the front, turn another screw. MetaGuide, you pick a bright star, and it guides on that star. So pick a bright star, center it, start MetaGuide guiding, and it keeps that thing slewed to that star as you make changes to the collimation. And it gives you a video image of the star, so it's more stable. And it gives you a little red dot. And all you got to do is stand at the front of the scope and turn screws to make that red dot. Just put the red dot in the center of the star. And it just, to me, it's a whole lot easier. The Wander Empire console. Wander Astro is kind of a new company. I use their flat covers. They also have, rotators, and they're becoming a ZWO kind of environment. And the Empire console is what runs all their peripheral things. FlakeSolve 3 was written by PlaneWave specifically for long focal length systems. ASTAP works fine. A lot of people use it. With long focal lengths, there's a lot of time ASTAP fails. And FlakeSolve just never fails. It's free, it's a good thing I have it. But the only Nina plugins I have are Hocus Focus, which is an improved focus routine, the Polar Align plugin, which is a real-time polar alignment that tells you how far you need to go, up, down, or left or right. So it makes polar alignment and touching that up once a year easy. Orbitals, Nina has all the library for the deep space objects, but no solar system objects. Orbitals is a plugin that gives you planets, comet, some asteroids, satellites, all the solar system objects. Ground station, I don't use much, but it can be a lot of fun. Ground station will send me text messages. And when I first plugged it in, I thought, oh, isn't this great? I'm going to get all these messages, so I'll know exactly what's going on. And then I realized it was a nuisance, and all I really want to know is, I don't want to know when things go right. I just want to know when things go bad. And I'll get a text message on the phone telling me something isn't right, whatever I've told the ground station to tell me. And it's a pretty cool thing. So to make this actually work, the first thing we do is access the Rising Star network. So from the client computer, you connect to OpenVPN Connect, it connects. That connects you to the Rising Star network. The next thing is you navigate from the client computer, you browse to the digital loggers controller. And here you set all your outlets on or off. So normally these would all be off. And I'm going to turn on the imaging cam cooling. I'm going to turn on the do controller. I'm going to turn on the mount. And I'm going to turn on the computer. And that would normally be all that I turn on. So once that's on, we access the observatory computer from remote desktop connection. And we start the infrared webcam from the taskbar. And then the next thing is to start the Skyroof app and open the shells. And it's just click open here, and there they go. A little bit of a shock in the daytime sunlight. And from there, this would happen at dusk. Let everything start cooling off. Then we're going to open the flat covers And for that, you open Nina and you pick your profile, pick equipment, pick the flat cover, wander Empire Device 1, connect and open. That opens. Then we're going to start a second instance of Nina and open the cover on the guide scope if I'm using the guide scope. And then it's just a matter of starting the mount. Click CPWI, connection, USB, unpark. You're going to start PhD 2, pick the right profile, connect all. Go back to Nina and connect the rest of the equipment. You're going to connect a camera, which in this case is 2600 MC Pro. Hit connect, turn the dew heater on, set the cooling at -10. Pick the focuser, connect the CPWI focuser, connect the mount, pick the CPWI mount, and then pick the guider and connect PhD 2. Now, you're ready at this point to salute your target, plate solve, and start your imaging. The nice thing is that Nina will do most of this stuff for you, so you don't have to go through this process. And I'll talk just a very, very brief bit about Nina because it's a whole nother presentation in itself. But when you're using Mary Noble Observatory, you're going to be using Nina. And there'll be some templates set up, I'm sure, so that you don't have to make a lot of adjustments. You just pick a target. But the way Nina works, there's instructions and templates on the right side over here, and you just drag and drop them over to the left side. And then Nina will go through this sequence. So in the basic startup sequence here, this example, there's an instruction to cool the camera. There's an instruction to unpark the scope. There would be, for me, an instruction to open the dome. Then the next container is where your target sequence is. And it's a different interface. I find it a little intimidating at first, but it's not hard to figure out. And to use Mary Noble, you're not going to have to know all the ins and outs of it. But it does some really neat things. Last night, for example, was a really good night to image. It's probably one of the best 15 nights of the year. Tonight, going to be just like it. So, you know, how many people were imaging last night? How many people were imaging tonight? Well, chances are it's just me. But I can tell Nina, I could do this last week. I could tell Nina, we're going to do, I want 10 hours on the Cocoon Galaxy, what I'm doing right now. You can't start until the target is 30 degrees above the horizon. You can't start until astronomical dark. You have to finish when the target goes below 30 degrees or at astronomical dawn. So hit go on the sequence. I'm out doing whatever else I want to do last night. And Nina starts this whole sequence. The target triggers, it's dark and it's above 30 degrees. It starts imaging. Stops when it hits 30 degrees or when dawn happens. And it only gets 5 hours. Well, the sequence isn't over. The sequence is still sitting there running as we're talking. And as soon as that target hits 30 degrees and astronomical dark, it's going to start that sequence again and get 5 more hours. And I don't have to do anything. I can be here at a meeting making a presentation. And here in, what looks like maybe an hour and a half, it's going to go to town. You can also do multi-targets in one night. A lot of cool things about Nina, but I don't want to get stuck on that because it is the whole thing on its own. A remote observatory is also great for EAA, electronically assisted astronomy. Every week of 4th of July, I have 25 to 30 people at my house, and they all want to look through a telescope. They want to meet the universe. They've seen pictures. And I love them all dearly, but I don't love them enough to break down an imaging train and stick in an eyepiece so they can get a dim, washed out view of some Messier objects from my light polluted backyard. I mean, I know that's going to be a disappointment. So, with electronically assisted astronomy, I can do live stacking from Rising Star, displayed on a 48-inch flat screen on the patio. Everybody's sitting around visiting as images are forming in real time. They see the scope, they see it slewing, they see the dome opening, they can drive it if they want, and they're watching a good image form in real time while sitting around having a party, basically. So EAA is party astronomy to me. It's a social astronomy. The images depend on stacking speed, which depends on good dark skies and a fast telescope. So with Mary Noble, there's an 8-inch Raza in it. It's operating in f2. You've got the good fast scope. Rising Star has the good dark skies. It's an ideal combination for the club. And I think the club is going to realize what a great asset this is when they start using this. You can do the whole show in sharp cap, I think. I haven't tried it, but I'm told you don't even have to get into Nina to do this. With Sharp Cap Pro, which costs a whopping like $15 a year, you get an extra button up here on the top that looks like a planet. And that is planetary imaging magic. If you're showing somebody the planets and you're at a high magnification, the planet's bouncing around, it's coming in and out of focus. It's just a drunken mess. But with the Sharp Cap Pro, you can do live planetary stacking. And so you have Jupiter that would look like this through an eyepiece, but the stabilization will kick in here. That's still a live image. It's still live stacking. But that image is stabilized and stacked, whereas this is just frame by frame in a video. Works the same way on Mars. That's not at all impressive. But that is the stacked image, the stabilized stacked image. And you'll have to use your imagination because this was with a big pixel camera. With a planetary camera, it's going to be a whole lot better. But just to kind of get everybody pumped up about Mary Noble, remote imaging, EAA, some of the things you can do with this. So I get one shameless self-promotion out of this. Go to www.telescopepeers.com. But there is a reason for that. As you're thinking about your roll-off observatory, there's a calculator on that website. It's free, it's real time. You can put your preliminary dimensions into this calculator and it will tell you how much horizon access you have. So if you have your sidewalls at 7 feet and your pier so high, what's that going to give you on a horizon? And you may find out, oh, wait, I only have 45 degrees. That ain't going to work. I got to make something taller or shorter or wider. And so it's a good tool for that. A lot of people use it. If you haven't been to Rising Star, I encourage you to go. It's quite a nice asset. It's a pleasant place to be. The club has a great selection of telescopes to use. And I'm personally looking forward to the big 14-inch binoscope being available, because I just really can't imagine a 14-inch telescope in each eye. That's got to be pretty cool. But this is a lot of information in a short time, and I promised I wouldn't go long. And I do want to have some time for questions. So let me shut up and see if we have any questions.
Any questions? Okay.
Told you I explained things well.
Hey, Jim, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I have a question. How are you handling flats, darks, and biases as it relates to astrophotography?
Okay, you remember seeing the flat panel open on the end of the telescope?
Yeah.
That is an LED panel. So you close that, don't turn the LED on, and you can do your flats. You can do your darks. Close it, and you have a choice of 0 to 255 in brightness. And for me, the brightness setting is like 8. And do your flats there. And so your biases and your dark flats, you can all do via that flat
Okay.
panel.
Okay, I understand. Do you usually do that at the start of every night or just every so often?
I'll do a dark library and I'll keep it for about a year. And so I take bracketed exposures, 30, 45, 60, and 90 seconds. I'll do a set of darks for those at minus 10 degrees. I'll do one set of flats and I'll keep it until I notice something's messed up. So right now, my stock flats don't have a moat, but my current images do have a moat. So I can take that out and process them synthetically, but sometime I'll need to reshoot those flats. So they last until you get a dust problem, which might be a week, it might be 6 months.
Okay.
So I just keep those in a library. So I don't shoot anything except light frames.
Okay. Thank you. I enjoyed your talk.
Thank you.
I've got a question. So how robust do you feel like remote desktop is in this application?
Never fails. I mean, I'm sure it will sooner or later, but I've tried others and I'm real happy with remote desktop. The communication thing that fails for me is OpenVPN. And I'll get kicked off of that probably once every session. And, you know, you get a message that you've lost your remote desktop connection, but it turns out it's because OpenVPN quit talking for some reason. Why? You know, that's a Peter and Bob question that's way above my pay grade. But all you do is just restart it. It always restarts right away. It's just not a problem because if it kicks me off, everything's still running. I just don't have control of it. Right. So I can be kicked off for hours and it really doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. So Jim, on that line, I use Real VNC.
Yeah.
Because I don't have VPN connection, but I have internet in my remote observatory. It's 100% off grid. I use point-to-point antennas from the main house out to the back pasture of my place, and so I use that because I have to rely on internet where I don't have VPN capability. So have you used that, and why do you use that versus, or why don't you use something like that versus what you're using with OpenVPN to connect into that network and then remote desktop?
Well, I have used that probably 30 years ago. It's a very old piece of software. I mean, it's great. I have no problems with it. I use OpenVPN because Peter and Bob told me to use OpenVPN.
Gotcha.
And, you know, there's various remote desktop things. The remote desktop has to have a pro version of Windows on the server. So on that little B-Link computer, it comes with Windows 11 Pro.
Yep.
Now the client, my laptop here, does not have to have Pro, but the observatory computer does have to be running Pro if you want to reuse the Microsoft remote desktop connection.
Right. I use a B-Link also.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt here. So we use OpenVPN because it's free, it's a private network, and it's secure. We use RDP because it's Windows based and it It just works. We experimented with any viewer and other products like that, and that simply doesn't meet our requirements. It's too CPU intensive. If we do drop out with OpenVPN, usually our internet connection is line of sight. So if it gets windy, or it does drop out on occasion. So that's why we do occasionally lose OpenVPN. So a point-to-point is not going to work. Plus, we have right now. I think we have 6 or 7 virtual private networks or VLANs now, because we do have some controls out there. We don't want to have predators getting in there and causing us issues.
What Bob said, that's why I use it.
I have a quick question. How often do you need to touch up your collimation on the C11?
Those things should hold collimation a long time. I haven't collimated mine in probably 2 years. I took it out of the observatory, put it into the old observatory, put it into the clamshell in my backyard, ran it for about a year to get all the bugs out, took it out of there, moved it to Rising Star, and I can tell it's just a little off. And for deep sky stuff, you probably never know the difference. For planetary, I like to get it just as close as I can. And I mean, I'm like, 5 degrees of one screw turn, getting it really spot on. So that's been, some moves in a couple of years. But if you're not taking it in and out of your trunk kind of thing, it should hold collimation for a long, long time.
Thank you.
I have a C11, and it's a portable scope, and I collimate probably twice a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine holds really well. Just not had a problem with it.
Okay, thank you, Jim. we're gonna segue right into the Noble Observatory as soon as Chris tells me where I'm supposed to stand. Oh, is this what this mark here on the floor is? As everybody knows, I like to walk and float and really frustrate Chris. So just a show of hands, I'm just curious, how many people got the email about the meeting today? How many people downloaded the presentation for the Mary Noble? Okay, I'm not going to be able, I'll go through it. So last month, this presentation hasn't changed a whole lot. I'm going to talk about the Mary Noble, and in a few pages, we'll get down to what we're going to do here. So the Mary Noble, as Jim elegantly talked about, is based off of what I call the MOB, the McCathern Observatory. So it became operational in October of last year, fully remote operable. Design features that we've implemented in the Noble: remote access. We're building remote operations procedures, automation. The software selection is similar, but not 100% the same. And we're taking some lessons learned off of Jim's observatory. Next slide, please. So the Noble Observatory is named after our founder, Charlie Mary Noble. Construction started in February of 24. There's a list. And so just getting to a little more currency, we built the image train in April, and we hope to finish up the automation. in August. Have the grand opening for the club August 30, which is Labor Day weekend, and I think it's pretty close to a new moon. And then our grand opening event will be our first remote astronomy event for Cook Children's Medical Center sometime in September. Next slide, please. So here's our image train. There's a lot of stuff here. It's a 2.2 meter next dome. We have a Celestron Raza 8 version 2. The camera that's on there is a ZWO 183 MC Pro, and there's a guide scope, guide camera, focuser ZWEAF, a member donated Ioptron CEM60. It's a beast and it's awesome. It is phenomenal. You've heard a lot about the high performance pier by telescopeers.com. That's that big black thing there. The computer is a fanless mini computer, and that I've had that for a while, and I'm beginning to think in the summertime. I'm very curious to see how that performs in the summer once it gets hot. So our capture software is Nina with PhD2 for guiding, SharpCap for live stream, and Stellarium. We have an internet camera. It's an AM Crest digital infrared camera. It's the same one that is in Jim's. It's awesome. I'll give you a quick demo here in a moment. And we have a flat panel on the Raza, and then we have a dust cover that's automated on the guide scope. And we have a weather underground weather station. It is not on the air yet. When we get our weather station, the data we collect at Rising Star will be published to that weather station. So we'll have accurate weather, as opposed to, if you go to Cross Plains, I think it's Abilene Airport, honestly, or Brownwood. If you're in Weather Underground, though, I believe the Cross Plains Library has a weather station, so it's pretty close. Next slide, please. Go back just a sec. Any questions? Okay.
I do.
Yep.
I was Tom Schneider. I was out there when we were moving the scope around about a month ago.
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry. And you were working on the guide scope. What did you finally decide to do on that?
What is the what?
Remember I said that the guide scope's too low?
Oh, no, it's working fine. Yeah, okay, so what, we'll get to a picture, and I know where he's going with that. Next slide, please. Okay, so the current state, remote operations available right now, okay? Polar alignment, Peter T. Arena and I argue as to whether 1 second of NCP is good enough. I think it is, he thinks it's not, okay? Our guiding has been 0.12 seconds RMS or less. Guiding's phenomenal, okay? So it's usable. The dome has to be manually operated, so you start an image train, and then every hour you got to run over and turn the dome 15 degrees. So we are working on operational procedures. Those of you who work in the software engineering field know what a pain in that butt is. That is because, heck, we don't want to do documentation, for one thing. So we're working on physical access and monitoring, scheduling, data storage and data access. We had a breakthrough. We've got the network working the way we want, and we're finding that we're able to download just short of 5 gigabytes in an hour and 20 minutes. So considering that, I know Pentic's over going like, give me a break. We only have 12 megabytes upload speed. So given the bandwidth that we have, it's pretty darn good. And we're working on training. And as Jim described, you know, we have a digital logger. There's Nina up there. There's a picture of the image train before we had our flip-flaps on it with plastic bag. Anyway, next slide, please. Okay, automation requirements. What is automation? It's the ability to open and close the dome remotely. Okay, we can't do that today. Synchronized dome rotation with the mount, can't do that today. Ability to close the dome during unsafe conditions. What does that mean? Well, you know, we get a hailstorm comes up out of nowhere. One of Mr. Musk's satellites fall out of the sky. You know, loss of power. Okay, we're going to have it set up so that if we do lose power, that the dome's going to close. Okay, lost communication, same thing. If we lose the network, we'll shut everything down. We'll have a weather station to monitor local conditions. So if it's raining, the clouds roll in, the wind gets too high. And the beauty of the weather station is it won't be limited to the Noble. Anybody that's out there can use that weather station. So Jim's observatory will plug into that. I occasionally take my stuff out and leave it. It's not going to do any good for my stuff that's not in a roll-off, but if we build a roll-off out there, I mean, it'll be available for anybody to use. Next slide, please. Okay, utilization. So this image here, I took from, this is the rosette, I took it from the Noble about 8 weeks ago, okay? And I think that's maybe 40 minutes worth of data. So not bad, considering. So for imaging, we would love for people within the club to learn how to use it to image. And, you know, we're going to train folks up on how to do that. For remote EAA, if imaging is not your bag, but you're having a July 4th party and you got your family over and you want to show off, well, you can sign up for time and do remote imaging, or I'm sorry, remote electronic astronomy. And then these are the public and private things. These are like, for example, Cook Children's, or Patrick is out at Dino and miraculously he's got networking and he wants to show other stuff. So that's what that's all about. Only club members will be certified to operate the Noble Observatory for imaging and remote electronically assisted astronomy. We want to use this key asset. If we get 200 nights of clear skies a year, we want to use it 200 nights. The only real constraint, weather conditions. Can't control Mother Nature. Next slide, please. I'm sorry? Oh, well, what if I don't want to be on the camera? Okay, so it's going to cost some money, a lot of money. So for us to fully automate the dome, it's going to cost a max of $5,000. So what we need to do is we need to get the latest version of the dome rotation kit and the shutter controller. And it also means we have to get a new shutter door on the dome. Since last month we didn't quite get the quorum that we needed, the price actually went down $150. Miracle, okay? So that's a good thing. And our weather station, Sky Alert E-Weather Station 995, and excuse me. So there's that. We have a security system. We're trying to figure out how best to utilize that. That was donated by a member. So the actual cost for the hardware is about just short of $4,000. And we have some miscellaneous to cover. We want to put, for example, foam padding on the floor in the dome to, if something gets dropped, hopefully mitigate it breaking. And we're also using it as a water barrier. So our total, again, not to exceed cost, is $5,034. We have raised $4,000. That's in hand, right? Yeah. So we have $4,000 in hand from anonymous donors, and we have a commitment for an additional $1,000.
I'll give you $34.
Thanks, Chris. So basically, we're close to having it paid for, at least the hardware part of it. Any questions on this part? Okay. The next slide, please. So, any questions at all? Any questions online? Okay. Whoop. Can we go back to the slide?
Well, Bob, let me step in here and say thank you for the presentation, but don't go away. I would like to see if we do have a quorum, and so I'm looking towards our treasurer, Constantine, and could you give us an update?
Sure. I understand that we have approximately 21 persons online. I'm sorry about that. I understand we have.
Yeah.
Oh, minus me too. I'm on there. Pardon? Oh, yeah.
So as I was saying, I understand we have approximately 21 online, and we have 34 members here currently. So we're approximately 55, well above the required 48 for a quorum, so we can proceed.
Very good. Thank you, Constantine.
Awesome.
Robin, you're happy with that? I am. Thank you.
Hey, without people, it's important to follow these rules. You know, we talked about this after we realized we didn't have a quorum, and it's you follow the rules, everybody's going to be happy. You try to get around them, it's a problem. So, if it's okay with Bruce.
Well, I was going to say, is there a motion to be made?
Yes. If I would like to make the motion that's up there on the board, that the general membership of the Fort Worth Astronomical Society hereby approves the Noble Observatory Automation Project with a budget limit of $5,034.
Very good. And Cy Simonson seconds it. Can we have the lights come up? All right. Okay, so those people who are online, we need for you to display your full name, first and last name.
We have all but Jim and
Okay, all right. That's already been taken care of.
so it's been taken care of. But we're going to do two different hand raises, and that is under reactions, and you can raise hand.
Right.
Ask for yeses, put your hand down, ask for nos.
Okay. Right. So in order to conduct the voting online, we're going to use the raised hand option under the React button at the bottom of the heart icon at the bottom. And then once we do the votes for, we're going to count them, and then we're going to ask people to lower their hands for those people who just voted, and then we'll go to the noes, and they get to do the same thing by raising their hands. It'll be easier for us here in the room because we'll just raise our hands and we'll count you without any automation. We've had a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or any questions?
Is there any kind of, sorry, what?
I don't see where,
Is there any kind of procedure in case there's a, what do we call in the construction industry, a change order due to some unforeseen cost?
I don't see the hand thing.
What was the question?
So do we have any procedures or backup plans for if there's a change order associated with your plan that would cost?
I don't see the hand thing. I don't see the hand thing. Under the heart.
You know, if you have to throw some more money at the project for whatever reason, is there going to be some kind of way to do that?
Prices are current as of today. So, and we've built in $850, and if for some unknown reason we go over that, we'll come back to the board. We won't continue, but yes. Yeah.
So do we have any other questions here in the room?
It's not on my screen.
So Christian, is there a question online?
No, there's some folks struggling to find the raise hand option. Did you find it, Jim? Yeah.
No, I can't. It's not on mine. I vote yes.
Do you see the heart?
No, it's not on my screen.
I'm not on a computer, so it's different for me.
My heart won't stay hearted. My hand shows up and then it goes away. I'm a yes.
But they haven't called for votes yet.
That it? Well, there we go.
That's true. So while they're trying to figure out how. Okay, we're going to go for the vote. And so for those people online, please click, if you're voting for it, click on the raised hand.
I went away.
Okay, so if you can't find the raised hand button, raise your hand and we'll capture your image online for your vote.
Okay, got it. I got double raise there.
Okay, and for those in the room, can you raise your hand? Okay. So 39 votes for in the room.
It's like 14 online.
That's right. Right. All right, so for those people online, you can lower your hands and take away the Zoom hand. Very good. So let's go to anybody who wants to vote against it. Anybody in the room who would like to vote against it, raise your hand. I see no hands. So, okay, for those people online, raised hands if you vote against it. Okay. So Robert, just to confirm, Mr. Cargill, that you just removed your thumbs up, right? Great, thank you. Okay, so no, so unanimous. Well, one no. All right. So we have 1 no. Okay. So Constantine, what's the total then? So the motion passes. Let me just jump ahead. Okay, the motion passes. So congratulations.
Thank you, everybody. Can we go back to the, I got one more slide. First off, thanks, everybody. You all know this is a passion of mine, and because to me, it's all about outreach, which is what we're here for. So if we can go to the next slide, and I'm going to turn off the lights because I cannot see that. I know. Okay. So next steps. I'm going to order equipment with the treasurer forthwith. This weekend, I've already spoken with Bruce. We're trying to sort out some sort of work area. We have a lot of equipment for our networking. And if you've been in the astronomy building, you know with all of our equipment, it's pretty crowded in there. So we need to start getting that organized. Plan to label the IT and astronomical equipment, install the padded flooring in the Noble Observatory, secure the Noble Observatory to the pad, and light pollution control. So when we first image that we took, that's the light pollution we had, okay? So in addition to that, there was a very strange gradient. Well, we've learned that that gradient was from the infrared camera. So we have processes in place that when we're imaging, the infrared camera gets turned off. So this is where we are on the light pollution now. I know where the source of the red is. And unlike Jim's observatory, where it's not that big of a deal because A, it's a clamshell, but the interior of it is painted flat black. So we have a dome and it's white, so it does reflect. So I know where this light is coming from, and the other lights, we know where that's coming from. So we'll probably get the pollution out. The vast majority of it where it won't bug me that much this weekend. And as Bill was so gentle in telling me that my cable management, in a word, sucks. So that's a project, and it does. I'm the first to admit it. It's lousy, but I want to get the cable management squared away this weekend. Peter T. Arena and I have been working on this, but we need one more person to help out, and it's got if you're willing to help, you got to be able to commit to consecutive weekends. So if you're interested, let us know. And if there aren't any more questions, are there any questions? Awesome. Again, thank you very much.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I'm just curious. If the site loses power, are the domes designed to have like a safety fallback where they just close?
Yeah, that's what the safety monitors are for. When we detect the weather is going bad, power is going off, we lose the network, the dome will close. The advantage of that is that because we're in a dome, we don't have to necessarily worry about parking the telescope because it's within the dome. We just have to close the shutter. So, yes.
Okay, thanks.
And we're also designing, we're going to manufacture one piece, add-on piece inside the dome, so if it gets really breezy, the dome won't actually fly off. I don't think it would take a heck of a gust of wind for the dome to go flying, but we're going to have some mechanical stops, so that won't happen.
I had a question for you. So with that telescope, once it is automated, or not automated, once it is fully set up for remote, and then you are running it remotely, do you foresee that there'd be a way to possibly stream somebody that is running it and stream maybe what they're observing so that other people could see the, what's being imaged, and so that way, one person may be driving, but several people could still observe?
Yes. So the short answer is yes. The way that's going to work is when you get certified, you'll get credentials. Okay. What'll happen is when you're taking your image, the image is actually going to be transmitted up to a server that's in the astronomy building, and we can live stream from that. So if we're imaging, we'll be live streaming. So, yep. Yes, Chris. I'm sorry?
If you're doing the live stream, it's better if you live stream from home than from the building, unless you're out in the dark. Okay, or the dark sky. If you're out there, you can stream from there. Otherwise, stream from home. Don't try to go out there and stream out from there. You're wasting bandwidth, and the image won't look as good.
Is everyone have access to the data? Like if Sean is like shooting something, would I have access to the?
Yes, it's club data. You'll have access to it. So what the plan is that after you, let's say you're doing your image sequence, right? And your image sequence completes. We're going to create masters for you so you can get something right away. And then during the daytime, we will transmit all of your data, because we don't want to, as Chris mentioned, we don't want to take up, we don't want to run the bandwidth at night. So we're going to limit downloads to the daytime, but we plan to either use PixInsight or AstroPixel processor to create the masters so you can get and look at your data right away. Okay.
We have a library of those stored shots.
We will. We haven't gotten there yet. There's a lot of procedures that are in play. I want to try and cut this short. Any other questions?
Neil Fleming online asked whether the data be stored for retrieval. Or has that been determined yet?
It'll be on some sort of stand. We don't know. Yeah, but people, you'll be able to download it. Any other last questions? Okay, thanks everybody for your support, and I'll be reporting to the group every month. Thank you.
Great. All right. So we've got quite a bit more to cover on tonight's meeting. As you can tell, we've got quite a few things to do, but let's take that 10-minute break and come back and we'll do the raffle. So come up and look at the books that are during the break and see what you can possibly win by getting the winning ticket. 6623. All right, Tom, come up here and pick a book. 23. And the previous one was 74. So, all right. So going back to the first one, pulled out 674, and so I had that number. So Neil deGrasse Tyson book, very good. Next number, 480-6617. 6617. Charlie? Can I just hand you the Sky Atlas? Oh, all of them? Maybe I'll win one tonight. The next one, 480-6648. All right. Ooh. Do you remember this individual from last month? I do. We're good friends now. Fantastic. Thank you. So several good books left. I didn't have a chance to flip through this one, but Why is Uranus Upside Down? Might be good reading. Atlas of Cometary Forms. Dated book, but looks interesting. Next number is 480-6603. No. Another number, 480-6635. Okay, Christian, come up. And we'll do one more, only because I don't want to take these books home. 480-6604. You had 03 and 04? Oh. Yep. Okay, so again, 480-6604. Anyone? Anyone? Yeah. 480-6619. 19? Oops. Well, I'll keep going. And next one, 480-6633. Okay. And so we'll close out the raffle now and move into what's up in the sky. I'll get to it.
Thank you. Hello. All right, things in the sky from tonight until the next meeting. It's still galaxy season on the other side of the clouds, except tonight while we're all in here. Next slide, Messier 106 in Canis Venetici, whatever. Bob Circus took an image of this. And from the Noble. There you go. Okay. Next slide. Okay, so the next new moon is on Monday, May 26th. Next slide. Oh, by the way, go back to this guy. So there isn't a whole lot going on this month. It's really not much at all. But there's this guy. He's from Iran. His name is Ali Siraji. And it's like his personal hobby to get as new of a moon as possible. And this one's like a 16-hour, 50-minute crescent moon, just like getting like the thinnest thing possible from the Earth. So it's pretty cool to discover this guy, and he's got a Twitter site or something like that, Instagram site, and he's got his pictures on there. It's pretty cool to look at. Next slide. Venus in the morning. So yeah, when I'm talking about Venus's great western elongation, then, there's not a whole lot going on this month. But this is Tyler Dollarhide's picture of Venus in crescent form. It will be the highest in the sky in the morning at 45, almost 46 degrees from the sun, so pretty high in the sky. Next slide. And then we have the full moon. June's full moon's on Wednesday, June 11th. And this is Dan Hobson's picture. I think this was the one. Say what? Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you. Thank you for the verification there. Next slide. And then the summer solstice. So anybody that didn't read me prattle on about the solstice on the Groups.io site, it means sun still. So sol and sistere. So it's on June 20th, of course, is the first day of summer. And yeah, it's when the sun's going across the sky, it's different elevations and stuff. And once it kind of gets up to the highest it's going to get into the sky, it's sort of, as it, from day to day, for a few days before and a few days afterwards, it seems to sort of stay at that same elevation before it starts slowly going back down to the lowest point in the sky towards the winter solstice. So that's why they call it a still, what is it called? A standstill, solar standstill. Next slide. Okay, so that's it. So the constellation that I'm featuring today is Ursa Minor, the little bear. And it was one of the 48 original Greek constellations that Ptolemy cataloged in a very long time ago. And it's got 4 stars with known planets, 5 formally named stars. They're not all very bright, but you've heard of 1 or 2 of them, I'm sure. Kochab, Fourcade, Polaris, maybe. Next slide. So about Polaris. So this was kind of a tricky wicket for me when I was doing a little bit of research on this, because the actual star, Polaris, the main star, it actually came by 2 names, and it got really confusing to identify that it's not just Polaris A, but it's also Polaris uppercase A, lowercase a. So there you go, now you know. It's a yellow supergiant. We don't talk about Polaris a lot because it's like, okay, it's the North Star, whatever. But it's a triple star system, and it is the closest Cepheid variable, which of course they use to measure distances astronomically. Polaris B is a yellow-white dwarf. When I say yellow-white dwarf, I mean like our sun is a yellow dwarf, so it is just yellow-white in color, but it's a dwarf star. Polaris AB is another yellow-white dwarf, but it's only 2 billion miles from Polaris. And it's only, it's like 0.12 seconds from A. So this is an artist's rendering, because this isn't a thing to be able to take a picture like this. And even though you're looking at apparent magnitude of 9.2, it's so close to Polaris, forget about it. So next slide. So what we have here is the image from the Hubble. So you're able to see Polaris B there, and this is your opportunity to see Polaris B, because if that's as good as the Hubble can do, you're kind of out of luck with anything you got. So next slide. Okay, so there's this thing, there's this stuff, and it's called the Interstellar Flux Nebula, Integrated Flux Nebula, and it's called the IFN. Did I say IFL? Okay, anyway, IFN. And it's in the line of sight of Polaris. There's a great deal of it They didn't really know what it was at one point, and what they identified was that basically the IFN is nebulous gas, but it's above the plane of the galaxy. It's separated from the plane of the galaxy. So instead of like a regular nebula that's being illuminated by 1 or 2 stars from its radiation, it's basically being illuminated by collectively all the stars from the galaxy. So it's not like it's got this embedded star in it that's like lighting it up. So this is Stephen Kennedy's beautiful image of Polaris and all the IFN around it. Nice deep shot there. Absolutely beautiful. Next slide. And then there's Calvera. You've not heard of it? Maybe you have. I haven't heard of it. It is a neutron star that is suspected to be the remainder of a supernova. It's got a ring that surrounds the star. Couldn't find a picture of it, so just imagine it in your mind, star, remnant with a ring around it. And they figure that that ring is, of course, a remnant of the explosion. It is one of the hottest and closest neutron stars to us, Calvera. Next slide. So then there's NGC 6217. It's got a really long central bar, and in the next slide, you'll be able to see this. Really high level, actually more than usual, level of starburst activity. See how long that bar is. It's great. I love barred galaxies. It was actually what was imaged when the Hubble got its 2009 upgrade with the what they call the ACS, the Advanced Camera for Surveys. They actually calibrated it on this galaxy, so this was the first image after that upgrade. Next slide. So there's a dwarf galaxy, like there is in other constellations that I've featured, like Boötis. This is the Ursa Minor dwarf galaxy. It's another satellite of our Milky Way. It's a dwarf spheroidal. It's mostly old stars, not really an active pile of stars there. Interestingly, that it was down here. Interestingly, there's about 60 known Milky Way satellites. So, of course, large and small Magellanic Clouds, and this guy is one of them right here. So, and it's pretty sizable. It's just very low surface area from an object standpoint. Next slide. And then there's H1504 plus 65. You all have heard of this, right? Yes? No? Nobody? Okay. It's got a surface temperature of 200,000 Kelvin. Okay? It's extremely hot. It's the second hottest white dwarf known. And this is the surface temperature. So our sun has got a surface temperature of 5,700 Kelvin. So that gives you some sort of idea of how hot this surface is on this thing. Interestingly, its atmosphere is carbon and oxygen and neon. And, you know, that's kind of common as far as white dwarfs are concerned. But it's magnesium. It's a mystery as far as its stellar evolution. And usually I might just kind of skate through that, and it's like, it's a mystery. We're just going to leave you guys wondering. But if you go to the next slide here, I found more about it. It's actually really cool, and it's something that I would actually suggest that you look into yourselves. But this star, so the higher amounts of neon and magnesium, it's higher than you usually find in white dwarfs. So this was kind of the red flag for them. You know, having carbon and oxygen in the atmosphere is one thing, but when you start looking at levels that are high with these two elements, that's odd. Pretty much no hydrogen or helium in its atmosphere. And the presumption here is that this is not a white dwarf, but this is actually possibly a core of a star that remained after a supernova explosion, after an exploded star. And there's another white dwarf. I say it's the second hottest. This one, it's this jumble of letters and numbers here. It's in Dorado. It's in the line of sight of the Large Magellanic Cloud. And it is 250,000 Kelvin. So it's like 78 times hotter than the sun's surface. Extremely hot star. So next slide. Yeah, so there's, my source here, SkyLive, Constellation Guide. There's actually more deep sky objects in Ursa Minor than you'd think. It's a little constellation, something you usually just don't go to unless you're polar aligning. It's sort of important for that, but otherwise, so it's kind of a surprise that there's that many objects in the sky. And like I said, yeah, you might want to try Googling that. It's pretty cool stuff. So next slide. So for a feature of galaxy season, what I did was I pulled up all of the images that everybody that's done astrophotography in the club has published this year for this year's galaxy season. So I was going to show them. So we've got the Leo triplet in Leo, done by Sean Paul. Next slide. We've got mine. This is ARP1. It's a little cinnamon bun right here. Thank you. And it's like the perfect music for it. It's like sexy galaxy picture. Anyway, next slide. This is Messier 94 in Canis Venatici. I just want to say Venatici. Anyway, this Bob Circus made this. Great. It was beautiful, beautiful ring around there. From the Noble. Next slide. This is from George Lutch. This is Messier 108 with Friend Owl Nebula in Ursa Major. Next slide. It's another one by Sean Paul. This is Messier 101 in Ursa Major. Next slide. It's another one of mine. It's Messier 81 with its little satellite Holmberg 9 up there in Ursa Major. Next slide. This is Tyler Dollarhide, the Sombrero Galaxy, one of my favorite. I've got to take a picture of it. It's beautiful. M104 in Virgo. Next slide. Bob Circus with his capture of Messier 108 with the owl. It's almost like you and George Lutch got together and said, "Hey, let's." It's uncanny. Oh, that was on purpose then? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, okay. Gotcha. Well, then I'll stop joking about it. Next slide. This is mine of Messier 51 in Ursa Major. Next slide. This is Glenn Fraser's shot of Messier 101 in Ursa Major. Love that. The bends in those crazy arms there. Next slide. Messier 106 in Cana Venatici by Dan Hobson. Next slide. So really, it's not self-serving. I take a lot of galaxy pictures, okay? So I'm not trying to make this about me. So this is Messier 109 in Ursa Major. Next slide. Glenn Fraser's shot of Messier 81 and 82, aka the Bode's Nebulae. Next slide. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because I'm going to come down here. So we're going to start the business meeting, and first up there is the treasurer's report.
That's right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Constantine. I know it's getting late, so I'll be as brief as possible. The treasurer's report, can we put that up on the screen? If not, let me go ahead and describe where we are. Current balance of $39,000. We had one significant donation of $1,000. This is towards the Noble Observatory. And we had a substantial expense, $5,900 that you can see there. That is for primarily our insurance, general liability insurance, as well as our loan repayment. The loan repayment is actually detailed further down below on the bottom half of the page. Please note it was $36.64, which brings down our overall loan balance to $10,440. So pretty good overall. Let's go to the next page. The other significant thing that's going on is, of course, our membership renewal. This is membership renewal month, and thank you to those that brought me checks and cash today. With what I've received today, we're about 33% renewed. So we have quite a ways to go for the rest of the month. Any questions about membership and or the treasurer's report? That will show up at next report.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. That was this month, and this is for last month.
Yeah, this is, yes, correct. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's go to the next item, and that has to do with the executive board updates. Do you have a bylaw update? Do you have a bylaws update?
I can give a real quick. Okay, we've been working hard on the bylaws. We had a board meeting last week just to go through some of the stuff. We got a few tweaks. So in June, we're going to publish a link in the newsletter. But being it's so extensive, there's going to be a link in the newsletter to where you can actually look at it online. So have a month to look at it. July, we'll go through it, and we're going to vote on them in August.
Great. Thank you very much. So let's go to the next slide. Cover these slides. So the board established a nominating committee because they have to do that so the nominating committee can go out and find eligible candidates for next year's executive board, and we'll make the nominating committee will present the candidates next month, and then we'll have the elections in June. These are the folks that volunteered to be on the nominating committee: Cy, Bob, Tom, and myself. Next slide. And just to give you an idea who the slate of candidates right now are. I'm running again, and so is our treasurer, Constantine, and our secretary, Robin Pond. And we have 3 open positions. Somehow we'll replace Bill Hall, as he's fulfilled his 2 years terms. And then we have 2 open directors spots open. The other 2 directors were elected last year, and their term is 2 years, and we don't elect them this year. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've got a suggestion on the website. Maybe put some thumbnail pictures of various people in the management so new members and people like myself can recognize them.
Funny you should mention that, because we talked about that at the board meeting, and you'll see more publicity about the board members being published with their pictures. So you'll see that in their fancy sports cars or whatever else they want to be in. But yes, we're going to take that. So people because what happens is we think everybody knows who everybody else is, but we have visitors all the time. We have new members, and we just need to keep that information up in front of everyone. So great suggestion. Thank you. All right. Plus, nominations from club members will be accepted at any time prior to the election. It says so in the bylaws, and we stick to that. The nomination committee may be contacting you to see if you want to participate in one of those open slots, or if you're interested, check it out, contact any of the people on the nominating committee, and we'll tell you what those people do. I would like to point out that the person that runs for the vice president job, Bill, has said that they don't have to do what's up in the sky because he's willing to continue with that. Yeah, that's a passion of his. So yeah, we're very lucky to have that. Okay, next slide. Let's go to the Code of Conduct Committee. Next slide. Executive Board established another temporary committee whose goal is to revise the code of conduct out at Rising Star. And the idea is we'll have something that we can present to the Executive Board at the September meeting. So I'm on the committee, Bill Hall and Tom Roth round out the team. And what we're going to do is take the code of conduct and bring it up to date. The electronic version has been in use since 2023, and what has happened in the past 2 years. We went from a large 3.5 acre field to a very modest, good observing area with 4 buildings, numerous pads, and electricity. So time to update the code of conduct. But we're looking for member input. If there's something that bothers you about our current rules and regulations, put your ideas down on paper via an email to any or all of the committee members, and we'll give it due process. Okay, next slide. And we're going to the fundraising committee. The board also established a temporary committee whose primary responsibility, as you see, is to develop and implement a fundraising plan to fund projects out at Rising Star. And the whole goal is to get more people out there and utilize more of the equipment that we have. Currently, I have 1 or 2 pieces of equipment that are used frequently at Rising Star, but we have quite a bit of equipment that if we were to do different projects, they could actually be used. The committees, Bob Circus is the chairperson, Jim McCathern's on it, I'm on it, and Cy is providing his legal oversight. Somehow I left your name off. Oh. Good catch. Thank you, Bob. All right, let's move on. Oh yeah, and ignore. And bylaws, we have a sneak preview already, so we're done with that. Oh, there we go. More detail. Anything else to say?
I just gave the timeline, so we're good.
Okay, let's go on. And other business? Seeing none, let's move on. Monthly reports. All right.
Go back.
So if you usually give one of the monthly reports, you can start moving down this way. Patrick? Oh, funny thing, the envelope that the thank you card that referenced Patrick and what he did also contained a check for $250. So.
You did?
Yeah, they gave $250.
No, I got 250 from the Cub Scout pack.
Oh, tell them y'all too.
I didn't know we had that in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
That from the school, you said?
Oh, okay, I blew it.
Okay, I was gonna say, I didn't know school did that.
So, I lied. It wasn't the, excuse me.
Parents.
It wasn't the elementary school. It was another organization that Patrick gave a star party to, and they were so impressed. They're the ones that forked over $250.
No, it was the Cub Scout pack. It was actually a reschedule from April, and they made a nice little donation. Surprised me. Happy about it. All right, so next slide. This is about it. It's kind of a slow going right now. We got 2. We got Dinosaur Valley Star Party this Saturday. Right now, forecast is looking okay, partly cloudy, which will probably mean it'll be cloudy by the time we get to Friday, because we got a forecast of rain for Memorial Day. You know how that backs things up, but we'll see. And then the Friday the 13th one there, it's a nice day for that. This is the reschedule for May. This is up in North Lake. It's one we've done before. We usually get a good turnout. And if I get any others between now and the next meeting that pop up, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Well, after 2 strikes, we finally got a hit. Our May Standy Hill Star Party finally made. We had about 45 visitors, and I think we had 12 members. The award for the furthest traveled goes to a guy from North Carolina. He brought his own scope, and I invited him back next month, and he said he didn't know if he'd be able to make it or not. But anyway, June the 7th is our next one. The moon will be pretty bright on that one. The only planet visible will be Mars, and it'll probably be washed out by the moon. So if it doesn't rain, come on out.
Well, originally we were going to have young astronomers this Friday, but we ran into a contract issue this morning, so we couldn't get that resolved. So we're going to kick that back a month, but we're getting it going. But they are starting to charge us for the room, so this is no longer valid. But I'll send out a message to all the people I reached out that we're going to have one this weekend. That we're going to kick it back for 1 month.
We had a 1687 Foundation event last week. Yeah, last week. So it was a very small group, but an active group. It was Bruce and I were out there with solar scopes, and we were very, very busy, and so pretty excited. We don't have anything booked at the moment. It could happen anytime. They're coming up on a time where most of their events are going to be for kids, and with sunset so late, they run the kids pretty ragged. So it just may not work. But if they call us, we'll go out. And if you volunteer to come out, the club will cover some of your gas cost. So thank you. On the 31st, the Cross Plains Chamber of Commerce has asked us to come out and do solar and possibly a star party, but a solar party during their Chamber of Commerce Day. It's a Saturday, so.
And what was that day?
Saturday, the 31st of May.
Okay. Michelle, are you still here? Oh, take it away.
Snuck up on you on this side. Rising Star, I know that I think we've had some mowing that's been done recently. I do know that when we were out there a couple of months ago, I did take some of the Home Defender and resprayed around the buildings, sprayed the interior of the green shed, and then I also went in. I know last year we had a problem with ants and some spiders in the electrical outlets, so we made sure and sprayed inside the covers of those electrical outlets to help to prevent ants and spiders. If you do end up seeing something that needs attention, please let me know, because we do have stuff out there that will help with that.
I got a comment. I was out there, and apparently when I left the bunk room at 4:30 in the morning, I didn't slam the door hard enough. So, who's the girl that goes?
Renvy Smith.
Yeah, Renvy went out there. I texted her, and she went out. She said there was no water in there, but the door, she wouldn't slam the door, and it bounced back out. So we need to address the bunk room door. It's not closing properly.
You're not going to confess to the window incident?
Apparently I didn't. Well, I left it cracked, but there was no water.
Renvy shut the window too, so yeah.
Functioning on all cylinders at 5 in the morning.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
Just to mention that over the summer, the OMG group, Charlie, Bruce, and I are going to build a partition wall between the two sleeping quarters. It's going to be 2 3-foot doors that will remain open all the time for ventilation, but at night they can be deadbolted closed on both sides to be secure. We're going to flange the gaps so there's no visual interchange between the chambers. We also, thanks to Robin and Michelle have picked out the color of the oil-based stain. We're going to stain the decks to moisturize the wood that we recycled from Star Ranch, and we'll get that taken care of. Palo Pinto, we're still on schedule for the end of this year. The partners groups, we have volunteered and cleared out 108 wood piles over 12 miles of trails. They're groomed trails. They're going to be great to hike on. So we're working on that. And I think that's about it as far as Palo Pinto goes. Oh, by the way, volunteer opportunities every Wednesday in June, the first 3 Wednesdays, are sign painting, which is a lot less strenuous than clearing wood trails and pulling the wood down, the little trees and everything. It's from 10 to 1 at the state park, in case anybody's interested in doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. That'd be great. Okay, so the next event at the Cross Plains Library will just be a presentation about the presentation in July about the Perseids meteor shower in August. So we will give them an update on meteors, and then they can make their plans to observe the shower the following month.
Oh, and building this wall and everything, if anybody else is handy with tools, wants to come out and help us, that's great. And we'll even buy you lunch.
So when do you think we'll go out there and do that?
I'm ready anytime the first week of June on.
I see.
Let's get it done.
Okay. Would you put out I heard someone might be interested, so be sure to send a message out through Groups.io for a work party. Okay, website and media, George Lutch, you on? I didn't see him. Did you? May not be there. Okay, we'll just move on.
Okay, so next month is uncertain. I'm waiting for some responses back, but coming up in the next 3 months, we've got Dr. Sarah Horst. She actually does study with Titan, and she's going to present on atmospheres of other planets and moons. Very interesting one. Also, Dr. Matthew De Furio. Thank you, Bill Williams, for hooking me up with UT Austin, exploring binary stars and brown dwarf development. A lot of research that's happening involving the James Webb Telescope because they're brown dwarfs. So yeah, looking forward to that, and I will be posting, what we have the next month.
Great. Thank you, Bill. So as usual, there's a group going down to the social house. Go at your own risk, I guess. Let's go to the next slide. There's the next slide. There we go. So we're not at our 9:30 limit, but we're awfully close. I want to thank everyone for staying as long as they did. So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn, and seconded by Christian. And we'll just raise your hand. All right, see you later. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.